Hello and welcome to Squid Pro Quo, a Squid Game podcast where there are only 3 rules. 1, a player is not allowed to stop podcasting. 2, a player who refuses to podcast will be eliminated. And 3, the podcast will be terminated if the majority agrees. I'm Sean.
And I'm Mike. And Sean,
Mike,
Merry
Merry
Christmas.
Christmas.
This episode is releasing on Christmas Day. Merry Christmas if you celebrate. Happy Hanukkah.
Happy holidays.
Whatever your holiday is of choice. But it is a Squid Game Christmas here on Squid Pro Quo.
It is a Squid Game Christmas that ends with murder.
And we have a few gifts for you this
do?
Christmas.
We do? There's gifts under the tree?
Yeah, we do. We're basically just going to cover the episode. That's
the gift. The gift
the finale
is that we cover this shitty now.
One lucky day. But before we get to that, I just want to remind you guys, we talked about this last episode, but this episode is releasing on Christmas Day, and then our follow-up episode where we kind of talk about like the different behind-the-scenes stuff, and we talk about different things people brought up that were spoilery during the time, and now we're gonna go over the show again in a bonus episode sometime after the new year. Look for it in mid to late January would be my guess. So we're the fun with the Squid Boys is not done yet. We're not fucking leaving.
We're not fucking leaving.
We're not fucking leaving. So look forward to that. And I just also want to say, before we get into our email that we got, I really appreciate all the love and support we've gotten for this podcast. Whether you were already a fan of the Squid Boys through the first season or through Sean and I's other ventures, it's been a real treat to cover this show. And did you laugh at Ventures?
I don't know why it makes me think of us as like in suits, like we're
businessmen, dude.
Like, I'm glad that you have continued to support us on our multiple ventures that we've gone out on.
I'm not a businessman. I'm a businessman.
Right. That's a joke from BoJack, isn't it?
I think it's a Jay-Z
Is
lyric.
It? I feel like it's also a BoJack joke.
It might be
maybe a reference to a Jay-Z lyric in BoJack.
Well, what's the Vincent and Daltman? There might be a Vincent and Daltman thing.
That's maybe what I'm thinking of.
Anyway, good time to plug our BoJack podcast. What is this? A crossover episode, which will be continuing once the completion of Squid Game: The Challenge is done. We are on season 2, going into season 3. So if you like us, you might like this BoJack Horseman podcast that we do.
And just to double back around on like. The second season of this podcast has been a massive success, and we were not expecting that. So thank you everybody who's been listening and hanging out and joining the Discord and doing all the talky bits. We enjoy it. Did you like the talky bits? You didn't laugh. You did. I think
I didn't laugh at talky bits. No,
I think you meant to laugh and you forgot is what I think happened.
No. Here's the thing. I don't just laugh at like regular vernacular and things you say like you do to me where I say ventures and you're like, oh, he said ventures. I don't do that when you say talky bits.
I'm just really, I'm really proud of what we did here, Mike. Because I think as well there was like, not to talk about you people.
Humility and gratitude,
Humility
Sean.
and gratitude. I'm going to throw that aside for a second. And, you guys have given us a lot of support, but we're not talking about ourselves enough. And I just think, Mike, I think that going into this, these episodes could have been a lot worse than they were if we hadn't had.
Oh, you think we did a good job? Is what you're saying?
Job.
There's some people in the Discord talking about how they think we could get certain contestants on the show.
I feel like
How do you feel about that?
I think we could, mostly because I don't think anybody else is covering this show.
So, like, if I reach out to Trey,
I think so. I know that some of them have done some like bigger interviews and stuff, but I feel like we could probably get. I don't think we could get any of the final like 3.
You don't think we could get Phil?
Phil might do it.
I don't want Sam, but I think we could get.
See,
Phil.
I think when you say those kinds of things, I think it makes them probably think maybe I don't want to go. But
they're not going to listen beforehand.
That's true.
That's crazy.
But
That's no one does that.
I think that there's a world where we were really disinterested in it, and I guess this isn't really patting ourselves on the back, but more I'm glad that we got invested because I think it made this a lot more fun to do. And there's definitely a world where this would have just felt like we're doing this because it's more Squid
Oh,
Game.
we gotta finish
Yeah.
it.
Um,
But no, we don't feel like
no,
that at
no, no.
all. I'm
Yeah,
sad it's
I'm sad
over.
it's over as well. I think that maybe we'll talk about
You
this.
don't like this
Yeah,
episode, but you're
I
sad
don't
it's
love this
over.
episode. I think that I guess this is a we'll talk more about this. I guess we could talk about the season overall when we do our bonus episode a bit, but I do think that like I enjoyed the first like 3/4 of it more than the ending. And I don't know if that's a failure of the show because as I'm racking my brain with it, I really don't know how they could have done it differently. You know, like to make it
Yeah.
more engaging. It's just the nature of it's the nature I think of reality TV when like the real characters are gone early, which is something that we've talked about. And we're left with just like the reality part of the TV show. you know?
Right, right.
Um but yeah, so you said we had an email and we did have one message from the Discord. Since I'm already talking, I'll just continue talking, Mike. Um Azzy Angel in the Discord said, I don't know if that question from episode 7 or was it 8? I don't know if it's still up, but if I was in the back of the group talking about the bridge game, I'd still agree to the 50-50 chance thing even if I was number 17, but if I was one, I would run across all the glass before it dropped out from under.
Just like you can't make it drop if I
Yeah.
run.
Well, I think that's like I don't remember if we talked about this on the actual show, like when we covered it, but it's the question of they probably just would have shot them, right? Like in the actual
Oh,
show,
like in the actual
if
show,
they
yeah,
tried
yeah,
that,
yeah.
because I think
Well, no, didn't someone do that in the actual show?
I don't think so.
I think someone does. I think in the scripted show, someone does that, and they just happen one of the pieces they step on
They
breaks.
do try. I think what I was wondering is if they could have tried to walk the steel beams, and I think that
Yeah,
would have
yeah.
gotten you shot. But
Yeah,
I was also
that's
thinking
true.
that with this one, I was like, you could just not walk on the glass. Like there was a lot of room on this one,
Right.
especially. you know?
Yeah, but that's not
Yeah, the
the
game is to
game,
agree.
and the game is to
Yeah.
agree.
I
So,
feel like that's the
uh,
best thing we've gotten out of this show is the game is to agree. I think we're gonna be
the
saying
game is
that
to
for a
agree.
long, long time.
Yes. Our email is again from Kim and Landon. And they actually sent this the day after we recorded the last episode,
okay.
kind of as an addendum to the previous email. Because it says, one more
Okay.
thing. Landon was curious about the fact that Chase and Steven were numbers 242 and 243. Trey and Leanne were 301 and 302. B and Amanda were 18 and 19. And Chad and Mai were 286 and 287. Now, we know based on interviews that Steven and Chase were pre-show besties. Leanne and Trey probably knew each other before, just a hunch. So he was thinking perhaps that B and Amanda and Chad and Mai may also have known each other before, which would make sense based on Mai's emotions at the end of episode 8.
I hadn't thought about that.
Also considered that B and Amanda and Chad and Mai also could have met early because of number placement and formed an early bond. Thoughts to ponder. So thank you, Kim and Landon again. I do think, I hadn't thought about that either. I do think obviously they put Trey and Leanne and Mullet Man and his buddy Chase together because they did know each other. But I do think I think they'd mention if Mai and Chad knew each other,
Yeah.
or if Amanda and B had known each other. Now, Amanda and B, it could be because they're both British,
And we all
right?
know
And
that
so
there's only like 5 people that live on that island.
it's
so,
like the smallest island. Like, how they act like 1,000,000,000,000,000 people
Yeah.
live there, and it's like I feel like there's like 100
on
people
that
that live
little
there
island,
tops.
yeah.
Yeah. So maybe they knew each other. I actually don't think that's the case though. I think it's what they said at the end of the email. What Kim said at the end of the email is that they probably just got close because they were next to each other.
Mhm.
I think Amanda and B actually mentioned that they were next to each other during red light, green light.
I wonder if they lined up red light, green light by number.
See, I'm trying to think. No, I don't know that they did because early on in red light, green light, Lorenzo is talking to Brighton and some other mook who gets
That's true.
eliminated. and their numbers weren't anywhere
I'll
close to each
I'll be
other.
real. You know what I bet actually is the case is for the bureaucracy of all this. I bet they had to line up by number a million times for all
Oh, that's
sorts
probably
of
true.
different things. I bet there were a million like, hey, line up by number for this, line up by number for that. Like not even stuff that we saw on the show, just like to talk to a producer for a minute or do
Right,
whatever.
or take
Yeah,
photos.
like I bet there was all sorts of stuff where they just I mean when you have the contestant numbering built in like that, why not just use it to make your organization run a lot easier more
Yeah,
easily.
that's very smart, Sean. You're probably right.
You want to talk about this episode?
I'd love to. I'd
Ooh,
love
okay.
to. This episode starts off with the three players we have left kind of getting ready, and Sam says, and this will probably hurt his chances of coming on the pod ever, maybe the dumbest thing I've heard in a while. And he says, "Player 451 is my best friend left in the game." In a talking head. There's only one other person,
Yeah.
dude.
It's
Like,
just
what do you
it
mean?
continues to be the thing about this show that drives me craziest. Cause he goes on to say it again, like, oh, the only one I can trust in this competition is Phil, who's left, right? I don't think I can trust Mai. I'm like, you can't trust any of them. There are three of you.
Right.
This is a competition. Like, I don't.
Well, and also, you can just say, "Hey, Phil and I are
Yeah.
friends, and Mai and I are
Yeah.
not." You don't have to say, "Phil is my best friend left in this competition." It's a pretty low bar for him to step over, Sam. There's only three people left, and you are one
Yeah,
of them.
and the other one is somebody you actively don't like.
Right. Like, it's like, what do you mean he's my best friend left in the competition? Like, it's just, Sam says things, and I know we don't get to know him super well as much, at least we get to know Mai or Phil, but he just says things that make me go, this guy's not super bright.
And
Like,
I would also
and maybe I'm
I
wrong.
would also hazard a guess that like I'm sure by way of editing, right? Like the editors pick the lines that sound like the most drama filled, right?
Right,
And
right.
so like I'm sure if we listened to everything that these people said, it wouldn't come across like this, but the way that the editors have picked and chosen the voice clips that we've gotten from these people, it has driven me a little crazy on the whole trust angle. And really not seemingly not treating this like the game that it is. Uh and I feel like that's probably partially the edit, but it does every time it come up. I always write down a note of
Yeah.
it. I'm like, there's fucking three of you left in this competition for $4.5 million. Like, I, I don't. Yeah, she might betray you. Like, duh. Like, fucking, she wants to win. You want to win. Like, it's weird.
Yeah. So the episode moves on to what is, in my opinion, is the best part of the episode, where they do this like montage of showing all the games, and they use this cool editing effect to make only the three players left, the ones who are in color, and everybody else is in
Yeah.
grayscale. And it's really cool because it's almost like a I thought about this earlier when I was thinking about the episode. It's almost like an Agatha all along bit, you know? Like, oh, they were there
Yeah,
all
I like
along,
that. I like
like
that.
not
Yeah.
that's what it made me think of. But it's pretty cool looking, and they do like this kind of like they like drop some of their sound bites they've said over the show over it, and it's really well edited. It reminds me also of like a WWE hype
It kind of
package
does, doesn't it?
because they're like the best in the
Mhm,
business at doing
mhm.
those kind of hype packages, and it's a bit, it's building hype for the episode. And the unfortunate thing is that they didn't really have a lot to build for because I think you and I both agree that this episode, for being the final episode, is missing a lot of the excitement that you would
Yeah.
expect out of a finale of a big game like this. But But this montage is really cool. They show
Oh my
like
god.
Phil eliminating Brad and all like the effect is really cool to me. I really like that they're the only people in color or the only part in color. Like it just really like it's a really striking looking thing, you know?
Yeah, it's a nice hype reel, like you said. I mean, it comes down to It's weird, right? Because a lot of what about this episode doesn't work for me is, and I don't even know about doesn't work. Like, I'm trying to be very careful in the way that I say this because I don't want to be an asshole. But it comes down to who the last three people are. Um, and what's weird is that like the stuff that makes those last three people be what doesn't work for me is that they all seem very kind. And I'm sure I would be very nice friends with them in real life and I'd like to hang out with them and I they all seem very cool. I have nothing against them. It's just the energy that it's weird. The energy they're bringing to the end of this competition is very healthy in a way.
Right.
And that's
Yeah.
not very exciting to watch. And so it's like this weird balancing act of both. I mean, we've talked about it a lot on this podcast how it's kind of heartening to watch this show in that you're watching these people get put into this position where it really should be drama filled and exciting and like over the top. And instead, they've pretty much at every corner pulled back a bit and for the most part and been like, calm down, like, approach this like, you know, not from a crazy person point of view. Um, and while that is like heartening to watch, and it's like, oh, these guys seem like really cool people, and it endears them to me as people, it's like, okay, it just ends. You know,
Right.
it just
Yeah.
kind of is
Yeah.
like
I agree.
it just flows to an ending instead of like being really
And
riveting.
we'll talk about the final game when we get to it, but I think it's a big part
Yeah.
of it. So when we get there, we'll talk about it more. So after this hype package, uh, they get handed their outfits for the evening, which is similar to how the scripted show works. And we get a talking head from Phil where he talks about how he's worked a lot of odd, low
Hmm.
paying
Hmm.
jobs in his life and how he used the money to help out people that have helped out him because he's never been really ever to pay that forward. And they set up the dorm like they did in the scripted show with this triangle shaped table and all this fine dining and candles and they get to have a good meal
So
and it's
I don't
steak.
know. This might. I don't know if you'll agree with me on this, but I think this doesn't work either. The dinner. I
Like you mean like their interactions during
I
the
just think
dinner?
this whole idea, the idea of doing the dinner just doesn't work. Cuz right, so the excitement of the dinner in the show is somebody's going to get a knife. You know, like that
Right.
is what it just doesn't translate to this. And the way that they act, like you brought up, is they're kind of just, what's your life story? What's your life story? What's your life story? It's like, you guys have been here how long? You guys act like you already know each other. Like, I don't buy that this is the first
Right.
time you're asking each other these questions. Like, this is gonna
Yeah.
sound very weird. The suits are really cheap looking. They don't look good on them. Like, did you notice that? Or was that just me? Like, their ties looked
I
fucking
I
bad.
didn't
Like,
Yeah, I feel like yeah, my looks
I think
tough.
all of them look tough,
Not
to be
because it's a
honest. Yeah, I
well, I just she just
yeah,
flashed on screen for me because
yeah,
I'm kind of like
yeah,
watching this muted while we're talking about it. Her tie is
yeah.
crooked, really badly. No one corrected it for her.
And like, okay,
Um,
I'm also
and
like
it
I'm a big bow tie guy. I like bow ties. Um,
okay,
and so just seeing all their bow ties, they all look awful. I just I'm like, come on. It's Netflix. You guys could make them look a little bit nicer for this final dinner thing that you're doing.
yeah,
Cuz like I don't know. I think the game that we'll talk about in a minute that they eventually end up playing is kind of interesting and would have been more interesting for me if I hadn't been spoiled. But just the idea that we're going to sit all these people down at a table together and like have a final meal just doesn't, I don't know. I don't know if it's the way that they shoot it or the way that they or what, but it just it doesn't work.
So basically, what you're saying, Sean, is you wanted one of them to murder the other.
Maybe I know. I think partly it's like, yeah, I don't know. I think it's like it's taking something from the actual show and being like, that's iconic, so we have to do it, but it doesn't work. Transition to this, and I think it's weird that they made that choice when we've seen they didn't do tug of war, and as we're gonna see later on, they don't play Squid Game. So like,
Right.
to me, it's like, okay, so you realized at those 2 points that this isn't gonna work. Like, I guess maybe this is just a reward for the contestants, but
Yeah,
like,
it's I think that's it. They're rewarding them, like, say they haven't had a meal this
it's
good in a long
it's a big part
time.
of the episode, I think, is the problem. More so,
Well, here's the thing too that I think that maybe you're underselling a little bit is I don't know that they succeed, but they're trying to lull them into a false sense of security, like they have multiple times with this.
I guess.
Um, and I clearly none of them are like, oh, one of us is gonna have to stab the other.
No,
Like that's
yeah.
not, but they're, they're kind of like letting them live life and eat a good meal, and then they go, hey, by the way, in the middle of this, you're gonna have to figure out which one of you is
I
leading.
like that idea. I
Um,
guess I just don't know that I would have wanted it to go for 20 something minutes like it does.
yeah, it does go for a while, and I think they're banking on the fact that we are gonna find some of these people more interesting than we do.
Like, okay,
Um,
that's fair. If it's Brighton and Lorenzo and like,
See, but your problem is you want just
yeah,
psychopaths, and I don't know that that's how the world works.
I wish it was.
Yeah, because like to me, it's like okay, like yes, those guys were entertaining in this show, but to me, that's the experience you're gonna get with the scripted show.
I guess my thing as well though is I get like, okay, we got to have the iconic design, right? Like, it's got to look like what it looked like in the show. But again, my problem with that is that the reason it looks like that in the show is because of the tension, right? They're sitting far
Right.
apart from each other, and it's kind of you're watching, you're like, oh fuck, is somebody gonna get up and like rush? Like, it's just it's taking something from the original show, but to me it can't work because the tension of the original show isn't there. And so I think they
Right. No one's gonna kill
yeah.
each other, which is what
Well,
you want.
I don't even know if it's so much what I want, but it's more what this set is framed for. What the idea of this all
Right.
is
Well, Sean, but hold on though, because they don't kill each other during the dinner.
no, but they want you to think that they might. Like that's the tension. You don't know.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, the shit, they've got knives. Like you're afraid of what is going to happen during the dinner, and like them being so far apart from each other is kind of like part of that.
Mm.
And I think that like I think you could have done the dinner thing maybe without doing a 1-to-1 recreation of like the set, like having them so far apart from each other, and it feels like they want me to feel tense, and I wasn't.
Gotcha.
Um,
During this, we get a couple talking heads. We get one from Sam where he talks about his problematic relationship with his family who aren't supportive of his sexual
yes.
orientation and who he is, which is sad. And, he talks about how his dad died and that made it easier for him to escape, but his mom has continuously let him down when he's tried to let
Yeah.
her in. We get one from Mai where she talks about how she had some issues with her family because she got pregnant at 19, and how that was really tough. And she cries a little bit about that. And then in between that, we get some small talk about, they ask, oh, what's your life like? What's your life like? And they, do that. And it's to your point, it's mostly uninteresting. But I feel like they probably felt tension in the
I'm
moment.
sure they are very anxious about what is about to happen.
But for television
Yeah.
purposes, it's not super great.
It's
But eventually,
and I want to just really quickly like the stories that they tell are all very meaningful and very powerful, and
Right.
and I mean no offense to any of them, like saying like that it's not the most interesting group of last final people, but I guess just to make very clear what I mean by that is like, well, these are people that
they're not
they're not
psychopaths.
psychopaths. Exactly. The idea of it almost makes the show a little more uncomfortable in like, oh man, these people like all have really painful lives, and it's like it makes it feel more exploitative when they're people that I can empathize to than
Right.
if it's
Yeah,
just
yeah,
a
yeah.
couple of psychopaths like competing for money at the end, you know?
See, I feel fine because I still don't like Mai.
Yeah.
Um, that's okay. So the guard comes out and there was a big tray in the middle that they remove the lid on, and there's 3 buttons: a circle, a triangle, and a
Mhm.
square. One button, when you push it, will turn gray, which means nothing happens. One button, when you push it, will turn red, which means you're eliminated. And one button will turn green, which means you get to pick the player that comes to the final round with you. And so Jip and I were arguing about this a
Interesting,
little
okay.
bit in the Discord. Because he said there was no reason for Mai to go first, because she likes to go
No,
first here.
she has to go
And
first.
she has to
Yeah,
go
no, that's
first.
the
She
what a Jip take,
100%
dude. What a fucking
has to
Jip
go
take.
first.
Everybody go bully Jip.
Because
Don't do that.
because if Sam goes
Yeah.
first, Sam has a 66% chance of getting what he
Yeah.
wants there, right? Because he's either going to get the green and take Phil with him, or he's going to get the gray and nothing happens. Same with Phil, right?
Mhm.
So to her, that is like a 33, or that's a 66% chance she's going to lose. Because then, I mean, I guess she could be the next to go and get the green,
Mhm,
right?
mhm.
But like, she just has, if either of them go and get the green, she's
Yeah.
done. There's no
Yeah.
question about it. They're not going to pick her. So she has to go first. Like, if she doesn't go first, her probability of succeeding goes down
Yeah.
tremendously.
I
And
yeah.
I think the only reason Jip is arguing that is because she goes and gets the gray
Yeah.
button. But like, that's still it did lower her. I guess it lowers her chances if she gets the gray button, then it's a 50-50 chance for one of
Yeah.
them, right? So it does lower her chance in that, but she had to go
Yeah,
first.
no, she had to go first.
Because giving them the first thing, it's ridiculous to me that neither of them tried to go, well, no, wait, hold on, maybe I should go
Yeah, yeah.
first. Like to me, they are, and similar to what we'll see later in the show, they just are not thinking about playing this
Well,
game properly. Where she
it's
is,
because they don't wanna get eliminated. I think it's the idea of they're viewing elimination as the red button, and in a way, she's viewing elimination as anything except for her hitting the green button, right?
right?
It's for them, they have the other out. Somebody else can press the button. Like, for them, it's, okay, Mai can go up there, hit the button, hit the red one, she's out. Okay, Sam can go up and hit the button, get the green one, I'm in. For her, it's, if I don't hit that green button, I'm probably not going to win, or I'm probably going to be eliminated. I'm going to be eliminated unless one of them hits the red button. Like, it's just, she
Right.
doesn't have as many, avenues for a win.
She doesn't exactly. So lucky for her, Sam goes next and he gets the red
Yes.
button. So she lucks out, but I think she made the right choice. I don't think there's any other way
Yeah,
you
I
can
think
go
so.
there.
Um,
Even if she gets the gray button and Sam goes and gets the green button, she still made the right choice. It just didn't work out for her.
yeah.
You know, like there's nothing else she could have done there. But
As we
Sam's done. He's
as
gone.
we say goodbye to Sam, I want to just highlight what I thought was a very funny thing that he said in this episode, where they're getting the knives and stuff, and Phil goes, "We agreed, no stabbing," and he goes, "I didn't agree to anything."
Sam literally going to
Yeah,
stab Phil
literally
if he
going.
made
And
it.
you know what? The show would have been better for it.
Yeah. So Sam gets the talking head immediately after he's eliminated, and he's bawling, and it's
Yeah.
really sad. And he goes, "To have that ripped away by random chance is just more than I can take." And it's a very sad.
It's very
thing.
sad. One of the things that kind of frustrated me while watching this episode, to me, was how much Mai really harkened on the, "We did it. We're the strongest players at the end. We made it because we're the
Yeah.
best." Like, a lot of the people that went out because they were unlucky. Like, I don't know if
Right.
it's you guys won because you're the strongest player. I'd like to think if I was in their position, I would have the self perspective to be like, I am here mostly because of luck. I am here mostly because
also
TJ jumped on the first glass and it broke. Like,
right.
this isn't really a survival of the fittest kind of thing. Most of there were a couple that were, required some skill to them and such, but a lot of the activities were pure luck.
Yeah. I also understand why she balls so much after Sam's elimination.
The only thing I can
Like,
think of
I
is
get Phil being upset because they're friends, but like, she's just like crying her eyes out and hugging Phil, and it's just like, oh, what an experience! I didn't get eliminated by hitting a butt. I don't know.
I
It just feels fake to
I
me.
think it's more of like a because I was thinking that as well. Okay, I was also like, man, why is it like why is she crying so hard? But then I was thinking about how I feel like I might react in that scenario, and like I have pretty bad anxiety as it is already, so I feel like that could just be an anxious response to like the stress
I
of the
don't know.
situation of where she is in that moment and the being relieved of it, by being like, oh, I get to make it
Yeah,
into the
I guess
ending.
it's stressful, but like to me, it's like you just got the most unlikely outcome, and you're still in.
I get that, yes, it's an illogical reaction for her to have there. Like, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But I think that is kind of like, it's such a stressful situation that is just how her body responded. Was like, just to cry. Not so much a logical thing, but more just like, we do weird things sometimes in response to anxiety and stress and uh being put into these kinds of situations. So I guess that was my perspective on why maybe she reacted the way that she did.
Sean, all I'm saying is that I would have been singing "Hit the Road Jack" to Sam and not
I think that's
crying.
fair. I think that's fair.
You know.
I don't know what I
Uh,
would have done.
so he's gone, and they put the money into the piggy bank, and then the next day, I think it is,
They at
they
least
lower
say
the
it's the
piggy
next
bank.
day, but
Yeah, they lower the piggy bank down for them to go look at it, and they go and look at it.
yeah,
And it's like, okay, wow, that's the money that was really high in the air, and now it's lower.
it's a
Oh no,
weird
it's not the next
choice.
day. It's
It's that
it's
night.
before. Yeah, it's at night, and then they go to
Um,
bed with the piggy bank down there,
I feel like it's
and
also
then they got to
pretty
put
crazy that they like just like here's the money, go to
yeah,
sleep. Like I feel like that's kind of a like, oh, okay, wow.
it's pretty wild. They make them wear the suits still because that's what happened in the show. Um, so they got to put the suits back on, and then they're gonna get walked to the final game. Not
Yes,
wasting any time here.
yeah, they go straight to it. And can I can I do the honors of the final game?
Sure.
It's fucking rock paper scissors.
Yeah.
I hmm. Look, I get it.
Well, it's rock paper scissors with a twist.
They try, and I'll
Yeah.
give them that.
Yeah.
The twist is pretty good. I think that like that works, and it makes it more exciting. And I get like you talked about it. I think you were trying to set me up for it last episode, where you were like, obviously they can't knife each other to death in the finale, so they have to do something that's like that keeps them so that they aren't physically interacting because it's too big of a situation. Um, I don't know that rock paper scissors was the choice. I almost feel like this is a case of like wanting to subvert expectations, and it for me did not work.
I just don't know what they could have done.
I also don't know.
I don't have a better idea, I guess. And so I'm like, okay, rock, paper, scissors. Now, for season 2, do they need to come up with a better fucking idea?
Yeah.
Absolutely they do.
Yeah.
And what's really disappointing about this is it's very anticlimactic because Phil like doesn't try.
Yeah.
He talks about how he doesn't really have any strategy. He's just kind of throwing shit out there, and she's like, "Yeah, I'm remembering what he played last." Now,
Yeah.
it is a bit of a game of chance, right? But like there are patterns in it. There are things you can do.
Yeah.
If you ever want to win one round of rock paper scissors, Sean, this is how you win. Are you ready?
Mhm.
You tell them, you say you're gonna play rock.
Yeah.
You go, I'm playing rock, because what the human brain is going to do is go, he wouldn't really tell me he's playing rock if he's gonna play rock. So they don't play paper, they play scissors.
Right.
And then you play rock anyway,
Yeah.
because you said
Yeah,
you were
you
going
psyched
to,
him out.
right? Right, you psyched him out. It only works one time. So it's got to be, it's like a one or done rock, paper, scissors moment. But it will work every time.
Yeah.
I've never failed.
Unfortunately for them, they needed more than one win. in
Yes.
order to do
And
this.
Phil, I think they show Phil winning once or twice.
Yeah.
It's tough. She kind of dominates him. And it's just very anticlimactic. They try to spice it up with the music and the
I just
shots
don't
and
think
the
it works.
No, I don't either. The throwing the keys on the ground.
They
It just
try. They
doesn't
try. And I just don't I think it's like, all right, um, doesn't really work. You guys better, you know, take another pass at it next time.
Yeah. So my just dominates Phil and my wins. The worst timeline. Um, she somehow just continually stumbled her way forward throughout this game. Um, and it's she just got pretty lucky that in rock paper scissors she was up against someone who is just not a very competitive person. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like he just seems like because she has to beat him so many times to find the right key.
Yeah, it just it
And
doesn't
they do
work.
this thing where when they go grab the key and then they do this like head down, incredibly slow walk to the safe. And it's just like their hands are shaking. And I get it. It's for millions of dollars. I don't blame them for the handshaking. But it's so redundant. And it just doesn't work as like a high obviously they couldn't do Squid Game, right?
Yeah.
We talked about this. They couldn't do something like where it's a physical competition because for $4.56 million, I'm doing whatever I need to do in a physical game to win, right?
Yeah.
If you're playing one-on-one basketball, I'm elbowing you in the mouth.
Yeah.
Like there's no way,
I'll
that
spend
I'm
100,000 on your fucking dental
right.
cost when you sue me. That's okay. You know, like
Exactly, right? Well, I'll settle out of court.
yeah.
I'm winning,
Yeah.
So they can't do that. They literally cannot. And you don't want it to get like too heady because that would be weird to be like, oh, we're playing a trivia game or like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like you can't. So they are in a tough spot here. I do. While I think they missed the mark, I don't know that it's an easy mark to hit
Yeah. Yeah.
because I don't have a better answer for them.
I feel like it was the kind of thing where it's like they probably were like I'm sure when they decided we're going to do rock paper scissors, they also were like, really? But they were like, all right, like they did the best that they could with it at least. They added some twist to it. Like I think this is the best version of rock paper scissors that you can get for a dramatic finale.
Yeah, no.
It's just
I,
like next time, maybe, you guys have had some time to think about it. Let's try something different.
right. I'm pretty sure after my one for like the 10th time, one of the guards next to the safe, I heard him go, "This fucking sucks." Like I'm pretty sure I heard that.
That was you.
Uh oh, it was me. Yeah, I was the guard.
Yeah.
But yeah, so eventually I'm watching it live right now while we're talking about it, and I was like, this needs to be over, and it's still not. Phil wins at least 3 times. That's what I've seen. So she unlocks the safe and wins $4.56 million. And he's a good guy. He's like, congratulations, Mai.
Uh-huh.
And they hug, and she's sobbing, and it's I'd said I'm not as big a fan of her game and as big a fan of her, but good for her for getting the W. And she talks about how anything's possible, and it's a nice message. You got to pick yourself up, blah blah blah, And it's a nice message. And then they do like what the second best part of the episode is, and they do this reality show kind of trope
Yeah.
where they like, where are they now?
I kind of liked
right? Yeah, but they do it. They're not as most reality shows I've watched, whether it's like a baking competition show or whatever it might be. They're pretty heavy-handed with
that.
it,
Uh-huh.
and this one's a little more cinematic.
It's very much as like, let's look at these people.
Right, and it just kind of it doesn't go, Brighton went back to college and got his degree. Like it just kind of shows, hey, Brighton does push-ups still.
Yeah.
To music, and I really enjoyed that aspect of it. right?
Yeah, I really liked it a lot.
We meet Brighton. We get Trey and Leanne playing table tennis, which is great. We get Sam doing something with a stuffed animal. TJ's coaching youth
Yeah.
basketball, and he hits a full court shot. Uh, we got Chad kissing his wife
Yeah. Before he goes out.
and riding a moped.
Yeah. What a legend.
Felicia feeding her dogs. We get Rick tending
Dude.
to his bees, and I just want to point out, I was fucking right. He came back. You can say I was wrong all you want. Rick, I said Rick's gonna show up in the last
Okay.
episode. Now, is this what I meant? Absolutely not. But I'm still right.
Mike, you are the real winner of Squid Game.
I am. My hasn't even been paid yet, so who knows? Maybe I'll get the money. We see Mullet Steven with his family. It's cute. We get
B.
Ashley drinking.
Yeah, we see B.
Phil on his boat,
Yeah.
which is cool. It's a good look for Phil. He goes scuba diving. Fucking
we didn't get to,
fucking Spencer eating a cookie.
Yeah. Yeah, we didn't get to see Lorenzo, which I think is probably because he threatened to poison the water supply if they came anywhere near his house.
Right. B's just kind of looking at a Ferris wheel, and then we get Mai.
Yeah, I didn't like this part. I thought this part was stupid.
So
I get what they were going for. I just thought it was stupid.
She does the Squid Game thing where she puts the card in the ATM and your account balance is this, right? Yep. And she's like, hell yeah. And then they do what is actually the coolest part of this. They go back to
I like
the
this part.
creepy
This
choral
was I thought was good.
music,
I thought this part was good.
and the people waiting outside for the and they got the fucking the cards. Everybody's getting the cards.
Yeah.
Deep boop beep boop 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 beep boop. And it's like, oh shit. And it's like, casting is now open. And you're like, oh fuck, right?
The game goes on.
I thought that was really cool.
I liked that a lot.
A cool way of doing that. And they're like, are you ready to play Squid Game? SquidGameCasting.com.
Yeah.
Which SquidGameCasting.com sounds like a porno site or something.
Yeah, it doesn't
you know what I mean?
sound
Like
good.
They needed a better URL there. That one's pretty. Making Squid Game starting on its own. I don't want that. But yeah, so they what's really I wasn't against the card in the ATM moment because it's a moment in the show, right?
Yeah, I get what they're going for.
But then I found out that she hasn't gotten paid yet. And the fact that they later on had her shoot that and then she didn't go, so when am I getting paid? Because from what I've read, she doesn't know when she's getting paid.
Oh man.
What?
Oh boy.
Cheney, a shout out to our guy Cheney, who watched the show because Cheney is a fan of Survivor like Pat, and they watched Survivor together. And Cheney was like, the ATM thing was stupid. I don't understand. She didn't get paid yet. And I was like, hey, you haven't seen the show, right? This is like a shot from the show. And he was like, oh, okay. They were like, oh, okay, that's fine. So
I mean, I look, I get it. It's a shot from the show. I feel like I would have rather had just seen some of her life like we saw everybody else's,
Yeah, but here's the thing about what actually, like, we didn't learn anything about what Mai likes to do. We learned about Mai's past, right?
Yeah.
We learned about Mai's troubled past. But I don't think we learned she has like grandkids. So she could have had like a moment with them, but they kind of did that with a few people where they were like, hey kids,
Yeah.
So I don't know. You want to show something to be like, she's the winner, she's living the life of luxury.
It. Yeah. You've convinced me, Mike.
She had a nice backyard.
She did.
Nice little swing back there.
Yeah.
I wonder if that was actually her backyard.
Probably not.
Because in my head, I saw the backyard. I'm like, oh, damn, she went out with this money. Okay. And then I find out she doesn't even fucking have it yet. I don't even like my fucking pay her. What are we doing here, Netflix?
Yeah.
When did they stop shooting? February?
I understood, like Cheney was saying, like, oh, they tend to pay like other reality shows tend to be pretty good. I think they said that like Survivor pays at midnight after the finale airs. So like
Right.
I get like, okay, we're not gonna pay you until the finale airs.
Because then it's giving it away that you want.
But it's like, okay, how far are we away? We're over a week away from the thing having come out, and it sounds like the still hasn't happened. Is like, come on.
Yeah. Actually a bit insane. So yeah, I guess that's episode 10, season 1 of Squid Game The Challenge, Sean.
I can't believe we did it. I can't believe it.
We did it.
But we're not done yet.
We're not done yet. We'll be back sometime after the new year to talk about the making of and just stuff we found from random TikToks and YouTubes and Twitch streams and what are other things people watch? I don't know. Kick streams, Facebook Live.
I hope
Instagram.
I hope nobody's on Kick.
Grinder.
You think Grinder?
There might be somebody on Grinder. This was a pretty this was a pretty gay friendly show, Sean.
Yeah. Wait, are you saying? Hang on,
for.
hold on. Are you saying somebody watched our podcast through Grinder?
No. The Squid Game, not us.
Okay, wait.
We're not gay friendly.
Wait.
No, we are. I'm just kidding. Please don't cancel me. Please don't cancel me. I'm just kidding.
Wait,
we are definitely gay friendly.
Wait, but you're still saying that somebody watched a television show through a dating app?
No, I have no idea.
You
is
just
that
started
what Grinder is?
Yeah, Grinder is a dating app,
don't know,
isn't
dude.
it?
I'm fucking old. I don't know what things are. I knew it was something to do with the gays. I didn't know what it was.
Okay, we haven't plugged ourselves, but I want to vote to end the podcast.
Hey. It's okay.
Mike, where can people find you?
Oh, you don't want to give any final thoughts on this?
My final thoughts are listen to our wrap-up episode if you want my final thought. No, I really enjoyed the season. I'll talk more about it in depth in the wrap-up episode. Just gotta come up with a better ending next time.
Yeah. And I guess not even a better ending, but a more tense ending game. Because I do like how they kind of, like we said, the cinematic, like, here's this person doing the Rick's beekeeping still, because of course he is, and like that kind of shit. I liked that, but and I like that they kind of highlighted, some of the most important people in the show. Like they didn't show like, oh, here's 198, he's answering a phone, which actually I think I might have liked that actually. If they just show him answering like a payphone or something.
He's like, I'm coming back.
It's like, he still hasn't learned. Don't answer the phone.
Just like a Family Guy bit.
Yeah, that would be incredible. Anyway, Sean, where can people find you? I just reversed.
Yeah, on Twitter at Sean_AFK.
And you can find me at SpikeGhetti Bros on Twitter and on twitch.tv/Super SpikeGhetti Bros. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas.
And I have a Happy New Year. We'll see you next year here on Squid Pro Quo. Sean, I agree to end this episode.
I agree. Bye.
Goodbye, everybody.